Good morning. Okay, so I've been meaning to come on and do an unedited podcast episode for quite a few days now, just before the bank holiday weekend, and then bank holiday weekend kicked in, and I don't get to do very much work, obviously, whilst it's family time. And yeah, so here we are. I feel like I've got loads to say, and I didn't have the time this morning to make any notes. If I wanted to get this episode recorded, I basically had to get my mic out and hit record and just get on with it rather than like scribbling down some notes and like a rough plan. No time for that. And I feel like it's just been put off for plenty of days already. So I just want to get on with it. I'm trusting that that's happening for a reason, trusting that what is going to come out is just going to flow out, and what is left unsaid is supposed to be left unsaid. So here we are. My First of all, I want to start off on a positive because I have lots to celebrate. The podcast has hit 10,000 downloads since I did my last unedited episode. It's been about, I don't know how many weeks now, good 3 weeks maybe, since I've done one, maybe four, I don't know. Um, and yeah, we've hit 10,000 downloads, which is absolutely incredible. It feels like it's growing effortlessly now, and I would say, well, the first 8 months, it was like it's always been an absolute um passion of mine. I don't think you can have a podcast if it's not truly aligned and an absolute passion. If there's any sort of push energy behind it, you're not going to feel inspired to just carry on when it feels like it's not growing, or it feels like not many people are listening, or whatever. But that's never ever been the case for me. And so now to see the numbers going up and up and up, and to just see all the stats, it's just amazing. So it feels incredibly special. So yeah, since I last did an unedited episode, 10,000 downloads. And what is absolutely insane, I can't actually believe I'm saying this, is just in the last few days I logged on to listennotes.com, which is where you can see your global rankings. And I was so shocked to see that we are now a top 5% podcast. And so that, like, I just can't believe it. It's just incredible to think like what that actually means. It's just amazing. And so, yeah, so I'm so humbled and so blessed, grateful, proud, all the things. Just feels amazing. And the timing of seeing that is important too. So what I would love to, like, the main thing I'd love to share on this episode is about the concept of alignment. And it feels it feels a little bit crazy to be talking about this because I feel, and well, I teach on alignment, all day long, not all day long, but whenever I'm with my clients or creating content or doing random lives, or whenever I am working, invariably I end up talking about alignment because it is just everything. Um, but but there's one thing in my life that has been incredibly misaligned for far too long. And it got to the point a few days ago where I recognized that enough was enough and I'm not available for it anymore. It felt so it felt so wrong, and it had felt so wrong for a while. But I had delayed this decision, and I'll go into it in a minute. I'm aware I'm doing that thing where I'm like building something up and you have no idea what I'm talking about. Like, that's annoying as a listener. So I'm going to actually like talk to you about what it is that I'm talking about in a sec. But yeah, it just felt uncomfortable for me to talk on alignment, knowing that there's this one thing in my life that is no longer aligned. It's not um it's not in integrity. I'm in every single way, shape, and form. I walk my talk, except for this, except for Avon. I'm going to say it. There, I said it. So before I talk about it, I'm going to share a concept. If you've never heard me talk about the concept of a house, I'm going to talk about that right now. Because I have this thing, the way I describe alignment is this concept of a house or a building. Now, let's go for a house. Let's always say house. So you have this house, and the house can represent your life or your business, but I like to think of it as life as a whole, because if we just talk about business, then you can end up sort of compartmentalizing energy, and that is just you trying to compartmentalize energy. You can't, you just absolutely can't. There's no point in having a business that's completely in alignment if, for example, you're doing something very misaligned on the outside. Which is what this whole episode is about. So you have this concept of the house, and that house represents your life. And in the house are seats, and every seat at the moment is taken. And that represents your current reality. And outside the house is uh, all of your hopes and dreams, like your wildest dreams. They're all on the doorstep. They're not far away. They're literally on the doorstep, ready to press the doorbell and come in. Because anything you can imagine, you can create. And that is true for everything that is in our physical reality right now once was imagined. This is the power of the human mind and this human experience. We are able to create our reality using our imagination. Whatever we can imagine, we can create. It's just about getting into alignment with that version that's in making seeing it in your mind and aligning up to that, and so that you attract that into your life. Now, let's imagine then all of your wildest dreams are out there on the doorstep, but they cannot come in. They can't press the doorbell, even though they want to. Like, they really want to be part of your life, but they can't press the doorbell because every single seat in the house is taken. Now, everything in the house is your current reality. So if there's anything in that house that is misaligned, then it is taking up space. And it is not going to, you are not going to be able to bring your hopes and your dreams into physical manifestation. You physically, you can't manifest it into your reality whilst there is misalignment, whilst there is things in the house that do not deserve, like, you don't want them to be there, basically. So the things in the house that can take up space can come in the form of relationships, um, actions. You know, if you're taking actions that are misaligned, i.e., you're people pleasing, or you're doing things that don't that don't match who you want to be, then that's taking up space, energetic space. It's an energetic leak or a drain. And so you're not going to be able to align to what's waiting for you outside the house if if you're holding yourself back by allowing misalignment to go on in your life. The same goes for limiting beliefs and healing on stuff that you've not healed yet. Any um anything that's weighing you down energetically, subconsciously, that is taking up a lot of space in your house. And this is why they're doing the inner work is such a game changer, because it creates so much space for new opportunities. So if you're listening and you recognize that your business isn't how you want it to be, or your life isn't how you want it to be, then know that that's that's on you, because everything that we're experiencing in our current reality, we have manifested in some way. We co-create our reality. Doesn't life just doesn't just happen to us? We manifest everything. And that's good, that's bad, you know, some good, some bad, some for a reason, but ultimately it's happening for you, always happening for you. And it's an opportunity for you to grow and lessons for you to learn, so you can get closer and closer to your highest timeline. And your highest timeline just means your best life, where all of those things that are out on the doorstep waiting to press the doorbell are no longer out in the cold. They're actually inside your house. They are your current reality. Okay, so it comes like you have to think, you have to do an audit of your life and alignment. What needs to be in the house and what needs to get out of the house can change over time. Okay, so it's about constantly, not constantly, but every week, every couple of weeks, every month, if you like, just doing a little audit of your life, different areas of your life, and asking, is this still aligned to me? And that's how you're going to make sure that everything is is working in your favor, and there's no longer blockages that are stopping new things coming in. So yeah, let's talk about Avon then. Avon is has been such a blessing in my life. And I'll take it all the way back to, oh, I don't want to say the date because I'm rubbish with dates. I have no idea when it is. Let me try and work this out. Um, oh no, I can't. I'd have to look this up in advance, but I haven't done that. I've no idea. But basically, a few years ago, probably a good couple of years before the girls were born, I was really struggling. Tom and I, we were going through a hellish journey, waiting on the like infertility sort of roller coaster. We were in the system having IVF, and like, without going into too much detail, it's really, really hard mentally, emotionally, physically. So hard. And at this time I was a teacher, and I've always said teaching is such a hard job that it's really hard even when everything in your life is going fine and dandy. Everything in your life is perfect. But enter one life drama, one life challenge, then it makes the job impossible to do without affecting your mental health. And my life challenge was this infertility journey. And it got to the point where I just wasn't really coping with my mental health, um, teaching full time. So I decided to go down to part time, and that was a bit of a brave decision, because my understanding of going part time was you only really go down to part time if you're sort of close to retirement and you want to take your foot off the gas, or you have a family. So I had to claim that for myself, that I was worthy of going down to part time, simply to be able to cope and not fall apart. Be able to cope with this journey that I was on. And what was I going to say? Uh, yeah, I can't remember, but essentially it was really, really tough. And I chose to go down to 4 days, and I was able to choose, luckily. So I chose to have Wednesdays off, and this was great because it meant that I would only ever do 2 days in a row. And so that was really, really helpful for me. And also, obviously, well, not necessarily obviously, but if you don't know, if you're going through infertility and you want to conceive, like, well, like the first thing you want to change and sort out is stress. So it made so much sense for me to go down to part time, to feel less stressed and just to be able to cope better. So I did this, and then not long after, actually, I know Tom's going to listen to this. My dates and like memory and actual like dates in my memory are very blurred, so I have no idea how long I was part time for before I got pregnant. But I think it was pretty soon. I don't know. But anyways, I remember joining Avon in April of, I want to say 2019, but I don't know. Maybe it's 2019. Anyway, I joined Avon in April. No, it wouldn't have been 2019 because that's when the girls were born, so it would have been 2018, I guess. Oh, I don't know. I wish I'd asked Tom before we got out for a dog walk. Who cares? It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. But essentially, I remember joining Avon. I think I've been part time for ages, but yeah, I joined Avon in April, and we had had two failed cycles of IVF. In the sense that I'd got pregnant but then lost them. One was really traumatic when we found out at the 8-week scan. My whole world fell apart, basically. I went off on long term sort of compassionate leave from teaching and had a phased return. It was just the hardest thing I've ever been through. And then we geared up for IVF again, and I got pregnant, but then lost it very soon after. So, and I'd experienced it before, so it wasn't the same, um, version of hell as it was the first time. But then I remember having a conversation with Tom where, because you're told that you have to take 3 months to sort of mentally recover and sort of gear up for another round. So we had those 3 months. And previously, I was like, come on, let's just get on, let's do this again. But I remember making the decision and having a conversation with Tom saying, I'm not really ready. I actually just want to just take a pause. So we did that. I remember we went to New York, and then, yeah, had a great time there. And I just remember getting to a place that was just happy and just at peace. I'd done so much work on myself and become quite spiritual, and all the things like, yeah, I remember going to New York and seeing lots of signs. Um, yeah, it was just amazing. And then we came back from New York, and a few weeks later, we started the next round of IVF. And it was at this point that I came across an Avon ad, and I signed up to do it because I wanted to basically bridge the income gap. I'd lost income by going down to 4 days a week. So found that to do to kind of earn a little bit of money on the side. And yeah, then I got pregnant, and very quickly I decided to become a leader with Avon and sort of built a team, motivated them, like again, threw my heart and soul into it. I don't know if you've heard anything about me on the podcast before about my own trauma. And basically, I didn't realize until a year ago, but my whole life I've been a serial high achiever because of a limiting belief that I wasn't worthy unless I was achieving highly. So clearly had trauma drive when it came to Avon as well, and just, you know, was really, really successful, built a very successful team, earned a lot of money from it. Um, Won a holiday to Mauritius, which was incredible. Didn't actually go because of COVID, but yeah, basically did really, really well. um, but that was my programming. My programming was to achieve highly because I didn't believe I was worthy unless I was. So that was my reality. On and on and on. But yeah, so including Avon. And so where am I going with this? Yeah, so Avon was incredible for me. I It was the thing ultimately after I had the girls and went back after maternity leave. I knew straight away that I didn't want to be there. I just I just wasn't available for teaching at a lower standard than I had in the past, but it was impossible to do that because I wasn't willing to put my heart and soul into something. Now that I was a mother, I'd waited for so long to have these girls, and so I didn't want to be there. And I wasn't okay. This is such a common thing in the teaching space. You can never feel like you're doing a good enough job unless you sacrifice your mental health and put all the hours in and sacrifice living really until the holidays. And I just wasn't okay with that. I just decided, no, I didn't get alignment. I probably never heard of the word alignment. It wasn't on my radar back then, but looking back, I recognized, sort of intuitively recognized that it was so misaligned that if I were to carry on this way, like it just wasn't okay. So I just decided, I followed my heart, and I was like, I feel like I want to help people on a deeper level. And so came across hypnotherapy training. And the thing that enabled me to leave teaching as early as I did was Avon. It was my income from Avon that supported me to train. Because when I left teaching, it was October 20, I don't know, 2021 maybe. Who knows? I think it was 2021. Yeah. And yeah, so I left teaching, and I was still training at that point. I didn't qualify until June the following year. Um, no, must have been 2019 then. Oh god. Absolutely ballsing this up, but who cares? It's fine. Um, so when I'd left teaching, the only thing that I was doing was looking after my girls, doing Avon, and doing my hypnotherapy training, and practicing. I had to have a certain amount of clients every single week to build up my session hours, things like that. And so, yeah, Avon supported me. Avon has been absolutely incredible for me. And for quite a few months now, I've been doing, like, from a perspective that most people would understand, looking at my decision to quit this thing now, they think I'm crazy. And the reason I've kept it going for so long is because I think Tom thinks I'm crazy because I'm still earning really good money from it. And I'm doing next to nothing. Tom has been delivering my brochures, delivering my Avon orders, whilst he's been walking the dog, whilst he's been going out to CrossFit. He basically does everything apart from putting the orders in and sorting them and prepping the brochures. He sometimes does that, but it takes me hardly any time per month, and I'm still earning a really good amount from it. So logically, and most people, I'm not saying most people who listen to this podcast, because you're listening for a reason, and you have an understanding or a curiosity about energetics and energy, and I'm sure, if you've listened to a few episodes and you're a regular listener, you get it. You're on my wavelength, but most people wouldn't get it. Most people think logically, and they just think I'm absolutely crazy to throw away all of this regular income. But here's the thing, I see things differently. And it's just, for me, I have been aware for several months now that it's been an energetic leak for me. Like, I know it's a past version of me. I know it's misaligned. I know it's taking up space in that metaphorical house that I talked about. Yet I have allowed it to continue. And it got to the point where I realised I don't know if you've listened to Jenny, the episode, Jenny, I can't remember what we called it, Starseed, Jenny from Starseed Academy. Jenny is my one-to-one client. She's a psychic medium mentor, and yeah, she's my one-to-one client. But I booked a session with her, a one-off session, where you get to ask your spirit guides and your higher self all sorts of questions. And I booked one of those recently, and it was amazing. And one of the things that came through was clear out the clutter. And I knew what it was talking about. It was just confirmation that the thing that my team were referring to was this one massively misaligned thing in my life. And I knew it. I knew it. And yeah, so I took the decision. I was like, enough is enough. It's essentially the actions that we take. You might have heard me say this before, but it's not the actions that we take that matter. It's the energy underneath those actions. And what it means for me to be continuing Avon is like the energy that's being read there is that I don't fully trust in my business, even though I don't think that at all, and that I don't want to be doing Avon. Like, I'm grateful for the money that it's bringing in, but 100% my heart and soul and head and everything is in my business. I don't care for Avon anymore. That is not it. That's not what's interpreted by the universe. The universe reads energy. Energetically, Avon is, until very recently, Avon has still been a thing for me. And so the energy that's being read is that I don't fully trust my business because I'm not all in. Essentially, I've got maybe a plan B there. I've got something to fall back on. And that now you can see why that is so misaligned for me. And I was like, no, enough is enough. And I said to Tom, just blurted it out over dinner. I was like, hey, May is going to be my last month with Avon. And he was like, okay, if you're sure. And it just felt so, so good. So, so good. And this is a really, really interesting thing. So now what I've done is I've basically booted out that space from the house. I've created space for something from the doorstep to drop in. Um, and literally the next morning, I logged in to listen notes and saw that my podcast had hit top 5%. And yeah, it's amazing. Like, that was one of the things out on the doorstep. Literally, if you'd have asked me, well, what am I looking forward to in my business, that would have been one of the things. It's amazing. Another thing that happened, um, when you decide something, when you want to up level, when you want to reach your next level, you will be tested by the universe. And so it's so interesting, so fascinating to see this play out. Since I made that decision a couple of days ago, I have had old customers get back in touch saying, "Are you still doing Avon?" Old people who have been on my team get in touch, say, "Oh, are you still doing? I really want to join again." Now that is the universe testing me. Are you sure you want to do this, or do you want to fall back down to your previous level? And now I know I'm sure I want to do this. Absolutely, there is no doubt in my mind. So I happily texted that customer just now and said, "No, my friend is taking over me. For me, here's her number." And also the old team member that got in touch, I passed her on to one of my friends who's a rep, who I know is a fantastic leader, happily passed them on. And yeah, I'm done. Like, that's me saying back to the universe, nope, this is it for me, totally ready for this new level. I've boxed up all of my stock, ready to pass it on to my friend who lives around the corner. And I'm just so overjoyed that this that this is creating space, and there's no fear or worry about the loss of earnings at all. Um, and interestingly, another thing, like, you don't have control of over what goes on in your life, and so we try to control and hold on tight to things when we don't. And it's better to surrender and trust and lean into everything happening, for a reason and for your highest good. Because another thing that happened to me yesterday was one of my one-to-one clients um, who I've been working with, she paused. I'm not going to go into too much detail for sort of personal reasons, but she messaged me and she's so grateful for the work that we have done together. And she has basically decided, she's come to a decision for personal reasons, nothing to do with the work that we are doing, but something has happened in her life that means that she needs to process some things. It's not relevant to the work that we're doing. And she asked me, in a very empowered, self-led way, would it be possible to be released early from our contract? Now, she sent me a voice note asking this, and as I listened to the voice note, I was really and I didn't realize this at the time, but what was going on in my body as I was listening was just utter compassion, understanding, and safety for myself in my business, because I wasn't, as I was listening, I wasn't falling into scarcity, thinking, "Oh my goodness, that's a loss of monthly recurring revenue for the next however many months." That could so easily have been the case, but I recognized it wasn't at all. I just felt compassion. I was like, "Yep, absolutely, that's the right move for you, and that's aligned for you." And it basically, I'm proud of her for showing up for herself, and it's what I've taught about alignment. She's putting into place the things that I have taught her, and so I'm proud of her for doing that. I've released her from the contract, um and yeah, like, she might be back in the future to work with me again if the timing is right, if it's aligned. But essentially, it's I'm not in fear or scarcity about it, because I trust that things naturally do need to fall away, and that is misaligned for her, so therefore in some way, shape or form it's misaligned for me, so this or better. What's going to happen now is there is space for something to pop into my house that's been out on the doorstep. So rather than being in fear and scarcity over the loss of monthly recurring revenue out of the blue, no, absolutely safe in my business because of the inner work that I've done. I just completely trust and feel supported that more is coming. There is always more coming. And this feels so amazing as a business owner. And I know that it is not everybody's experience. My clients, when they come to work with me, do not feel that safety, do not feel that security. And that is the beauty of the work that I do, that the subconscious work, the energetics work, everything that I do. And so my time is going. I've got 2 minutes left. So what I would love to share is, I have made the decision. I'm going to put this out there to speed things up a little bit. I haven't got a date for it yet, but I have evolved a lot since I recorded my previous masterclass. And yeah, I've evolved a lot in the sense that things that I teach now in my containers are have moved on since I recorded that training. So I'm excited to share that I'm going to be hosting a live masterclass very soon, and it's going to be an updated version of what I have shared on the previous masterclass. My new framework. It's like new and improved. It's mostly the same, but there's new parts added in. So I'm really, really excited to share that with you. No date as of yet because I haven't decided, but sometime, I would say sometime, I think it's going to be this month, if not early next month. But keep your eyes peeled. If you are not following me on Instagram, or LinkedIn or Facebook, wherever it is your favored place, come and follow me, because I'm on all of those platforms, and I'll be sharing when that masterclass is and how you can get yourself registered to watch and to be there live with me. So that's it for today. Thank you so much for listening and supporting, sharing on Instagram, leaving a review, whatever it is that you're doing, or talking about me to your friends. I massively appreciate you for being here and for listening and to helping this podcast grow. It's amazing. Thank you so much. Also, 10 seconds. Ask yourself, what is misaligned? Make a decision today to do something about that.
Thank you for listening to the Bigger Than You podcast with your host, Jenna Holloway. If this episode has been valuable to you, please share it with a friend or leave a review.